The first shot is a wide shot of Haas gazing out of one of his grand gates. He takes a moment to himself. The wide composition visually centers him in the gate of the wall. The framing almost pushes him through the gate, into the darkness. That is the concentration camp which Haas helped create. Because of this, he is compositionally centering himself in front of his creation. His garden pathway leads up directly to him in a diagonal leading line, the scenery pointing at him, reminding us, the audience, that Haas is a key coordinator of this, visually reminding truly how much of this ethically falls onto him. While he is the film's protagonist and we are trained as audiences to traditionally connect with him, the film challenges us by making that such an arduous task. On either side of him, the lush garden gives green motifs of life. This contrasts with the noise and smoke in the air, reminding us that we are next to a death camp. Visually, the green bits of nature seemingly surround Haas but won't clash with him, showing visually his connection to the murders of so many innocent people. The nature, life, won't touch Haas, the engineer of death. Through all this, dogs can be heard in the background coming from the camp. These aggressive barks and screams remind us auditorily of what atrocities lie behind these walls. The next shot shows Haas more intimately from the other side of the gate, this being the closest shot of the whole scene. We get close to him but are still cut off and separated from him by the gate. This could reinforce the theme of separation and the symbolism of the garden wall. This meant to symbolize the separation of Haas and his actions. Since he doesn't see the true atrocities he causes, he feels morally okay or even justified. Through all this, barking can still be heard along with yelling from the Auschwitz guards. These disturbing noises have zero effect on Haas or his overall demeanor. He simply sits there, casually, smoking a cigar. Ironically, the shot frames him behind the bars, almost drawing a visual connection between him and those in the prison camp, maybe even evoking a more sympathetic view, the idea that even Haas, who is one of the perpetrators of the Nazi regime, also is imprisoned by their authoritarian rule. Next, we see an even wider shot of Haas's sprawling backyard, this little piece of heaven kept inside the safe walls, keeping out all the despicable actions coming from the camp on the other side. We are then reminded that Haas in all reality isn't trapped at all. He has free will. We watch him walk freely around his lush backyard, contradicting the visual motif from the shot before. Those imprisoned on the other side of the wall clearly don't have this same level of freedom and autonomy. While this plays out, we hear a mix of naturalistic garden sounds, like the bugs, the birds, and the flowing water. These are mixed in with the same screams and Nazi officer yells from the earlier shots. This juxtaposition meant to show that, for the Haas family, all these sounds blend together into an unimportant background blur. They are so desensitized to the atrocities that they don't even give it a second thought. It does this while also recalling the Nazis' contradictory beliefs on technology, generally opposing urban modernization while using the fruits of its labor to torture and kill innocents. Next, we see Haas as he walks over to his pool and turns off the shower head-like faucet that fills it up, turning back around. Haas's greenhouse behind him takes up most of the central frame. This same greenhouse is used as a make-believe gas chamber by Haas's children in a later scene of the film. His standing prominently in front of it foreshadows this connection and points back to Haas's responsibility for the creation and usage of these types of technologies. This place has infected his family, causing them to make jokes about this disgusting practice happening so close to them. This thematic connection to the family is also compounded by the fact that both the scene directly before and after this depict Haas's family living a blissfully uncaring life. In our final shot, Haas stands still, silent, simply thinking. He stands over his pool looking on at the smoke coming from the chimney, eventually turning his back from it. The crematorium chimney smokes heavily, even bursting with fire. This visually paralleling the smoke and fiery light coming from Haas's cigar. He smokes the cigar without even thinking about it, paralleling how he has no real concern for those being killed and put through the crematorium just over the garden wall. Haas's turning his back is the director visually telling us that Haas would rather not pay attention to what he causes. The connection of the camp and Haas's garden is not just thematic but also quite literal. This is because the ashes from the crematorium are what have been used to fertilize much of the beautiful garden that Haas feels secluded and safe inside of. This being the ultimate twisted way Haas turns his act of death into a superficial form of life, through his garden.